Hey everybody, this is Kevin at Podcastforwe. Podcastforwe, as well as a podcast for you. I'm your host, K Dizzle, also known as K Dog, also known as the shit, I'm just here, doing the thing with the podcasting, but unfortunately, Ed Dog, he had to do something. So I figured I'd just run this solo. I'm looking for all my little settings. Maybe I should have got it set up first before we're popping this sucker on. But you know what? Hey, man, this is a first-rate budget podcast. That's how we roll up in this beast. All right. You think to yourself, well, he's solo. He can't do this shit. He needs someone to bounce his ideas off. Well, if you've been watching this fucking podcast, usually I'm just talking and the never just receives. I know he adds to it. I listen to the podcast every now and then. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about that. So, solo me, but I figure I put some notes down, put some thoughts out there in the ether. Give my audience who composes of nobody out there something to listen to, keep guys, give you little nuggets here. We were going to do it today, but I guess something about he was doing some kind of a thing with his laundry, or I guess he got a washer installed, so like that's like a big deal. I guess it's a lot of work in a washer. And it's raining, something about raining. I don't know. When people give me excuses, I'm like, but it's not really excuse. It's a real thing, but I'm like, I don't really care. I was like, oh, you can't do it? All right. I don't care. I had some thoughts, figured run by you guys. Some nerd talk. Okay. Starting with, let's get into things. It's December 9th, 2021. I figured we'd talk about Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, there is this anime show, very acclaimed back then, called Cowboy Bebop. It's like a synergy of good music, animation, storytelling, some good cinematics, a lot of fighting, things like that. So it's really good. It's well paced for the time. It's still okay by today's standards, but it's pretty outdated. There's a lot of stuff grappling with the same kind of themes and action and maybe music. I don't know. I still think the music's like still above par. There still hasn't been a show that can like create a volume and ambience with music, and like nowadays I don't think that's a thing. So yeah, I mean, I hope, but the Cowboy Bebop had perfect everything from action to storytelling to music. I mean, like it was like the complete thing, and yeah, it was pretty famous. This is the 90s, right? Or late 90s, right? When anime was still like starting to get real popular, back in the olden days, we had to do was smuggle these fucking things. You get like a VHS tape, and then you would know a friend of a friend, and then all you guys just got together and you should be watching it on your VCR and be like, what the fuck? This is so cool. And usually it would be either Dragon Ball or really pretty much Dragon Ball. I can't think of anything else. And then then all of a sudden Sci-Fi Channel became a thing, and then they were showing anime, and that was pretty cool. And then it just started getting more popular and popular. And the only time you really could get anime at the time after that was like you had to go to Comic-Con and things like that. And then eventually, like in the early 2000s, you were able to just buy the shit. And now it's a dime a dozen. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Seemed to be anime back then had to be really fucking good to like for you to hear about it, so then you would see it. But nowadays, I guess it has to be really good for you even to look at it and give it a chance, and like there's a lot of variables that have to come into play for you to watch an anime. You guys are wondering, what is he talking about the anime? When there's this new show that came out. Ooh. Now the thing is about these anime adaptations, they call them. Netflix does this thing where I don't know what they do. They trying to make a live action adaptation of an anime or property. And it fucking sucked, especially when it has a high fan base. I don't understand the concept of it because it's okay. So like you would think that if you're trying to get the fan base into something while bringing new people, you would then create, something that the fans would like, right? But it seems to me it's like, I'm not creating something for you. I'm creating something for me, and you're gonna need to want it. And that's the vibe I got, from Netflix. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the people who actually buy this shit or who are actually into this is the only ones who really care, Meanwhile, people just watch this shit for like, because they're hardcore nerd friends watching it, or they think that it's popular in their little niche circles, and so they're watching it and they're like, oh, it's the best shit ever. But you can't walk away from the live adaptations of these fucking things and just be like, oh, it's the best shit ever, it's the truth, and all the fans are just toxic and whatever. That's a new thing today. Back in the day, you could hate a thing and that was okay, but now if you hate a thing, it's your fault. It's not the company's fault for making garbage, but and they just keep shilling it out. It makes me think that like either reality is like fake, or there's some master plan to shovel out crap, and then as you're watching, these Netflix adaptations, I've noticed they always have to garner some kind of a thing, like they always have to do some kind of a woke thing, how can we introduce lesbians into this, or gays or something like that. And they're very cowardly about it when they do it. They always have to be like lesbians or something like that, because they know that the hardcore people watch are mostly men, and then they're like, oh, well, we need to put our wokeness in, so they put lesbians in there or some shit like that, right? Why not, if you're gonna make it gay, go gay? But now let's say fucking just women. Fuck it. So you got your Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. It's not too bad. I watched it. I liked it. The only thing I didn't like, though, let's just say that it's way better than Death Note. If you ever watched Death Note, that fucking sucked. It sucked story-wise. It sucked everything. Like the main thing that Death Note was popular for were the characters. You're not seeing just like, I don't know. I really don't have a comparison there. But the show is based on the characters and the situations they're in. That's why a lot of the other adaptations kind of work. Like if they have a manga adaptation or a live action in Japan, well, the way those kind of work is because they understood the characters and they went that way with it, and they just played around, what would this character do? So fast forward to Netflix, they don't have that concept at all. It's like they just kind of looked at it and just took out the topical stuff. You got a Death Note, right? A name, someone dies. You got Kira, he's a bad guy. He's into this girl. They just make up shit, and they don't understand the character per se. They just don't. And I'm not gonna rant on like a Death Note, but that is garbage. I mean, that is the worst fucking adaptation, and then some. Next to Dragon Ball Evolution, that's a real garbage one. But once again, it's a misunderstanding of the characters. Like Dragon Ball Evolution, you got this one guy who can do, I don't know, fireballs out of his hand, destroy a fucking moon, things like that, and turn into a giant ape, whatever, And they make it a high school drama, like, okay, I'm not thinking Dragon Ball, I don't think high school drama at all, but I guess whoever made the adaptation not only made that, got moved on to Netflix and just kept on going. Because it seems to be whoever the fucking makers of Dragon Ball Evolution is, same motherfuckers who did this fucking shit. No, they're not. But I mean, feels like it. Like no understanding of the characters at all, So the cool thing about Cowboy Bebop is and like the things that they bitched about, where they said, oh yeah, this isn't going to be good because of this, that, and whatever. It's the design of it. Like, oh yeah, people aren't gonna like the design, they're not gonna like this, they're not gonna like that. And I was like, I don't know, I really liked I liked the design of it. I thought it was kind of goofy, but I liked it. I liked everything. I liked how everything looked too. Everything looked really good. Even the characters look pretty cool. They were different renditions, but it seemed like they were trying to fake people out or something like that. Or like, you don't like Faye Valentine because her tits aren't hanging out. She's not less sexual and blah blah blah. And like, okay. And then like you see the character, she's pretty cool. But the actual mannerisms of the characters, it's like there's like a disease inside of these people who make these shows. It's like maybe it's a producer thing, I don't know, but it's like a disease in their head where they have to produce some kind of a woke thing. Like how, like they're around the table writing, right? How woke can we get this, you know? And then you could kind of see that, and it kind of manipulates the story. Like there are ways to pull that off, but because they prioritized it more, or maybe they try to get it out of the way so they can continue with their story or whatever, their truth. And then you got so you got the show, right? The characters are pretty cool. Let's see, I had a little list of things. Yeah, John Chow, he was Spike Spiegel, and he's pretty good. In fact, a lot of people were complaining about his age, like he's too old, and I was like, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think anyone is really complaining about that, but it's one of those fake complaints that they made a big deal about. And I wonder if that's some kind of marketing campaign where you're trying to funnel the complaints somewhere so you don't really actually look at it. I don't know what that is, but it was a kind of dumb thing. Everyone I know wasn't complaining about that. But I guess nerds apparently are complaining about him being old. That wasn't my thing. I think he did pretty good. In fact, yeah, he did really good. I mean, he was the best that he could be. This other guy, I don't know I don't know where he comes from, but he's really good. His name is Mustafa Shakir, and now that guy, he played Jet, and man, dude, he nailed it, dude. He nailed everything, his mannerisms and everything, from how he talks to how he runs. He was so fucking cool. Oh, he was Bushwhacker, tight. He was in that's tight. He was in that one show, Luke Cage. I actually like Bushwhacker. Yeah. Well, anyways, that guy was pretty cool. And he ran like Jet, like he was like running like him, which was pretty cool. He talked like him. Everything about him was good. They changed the story around with this character. They made it so like he's trying to get some, like there was a running gag where he's trying to get some toy for his daughter, which I thought was pretty cool. And they should have done more shit like that, I think. You had Faye Valentine, you had Daniel Pineda. Now, the thing that bothered me about that characterization is it sucked. It was just garbage. I mean, she was good. I mean, she looked the part. I think as casting goes, she looked the part. But and I don't think it's her. I think it's the writing for her that sucked, because she don't seem like a bad actress at all. I think everything works, with her, except for fucking her dialogue. It just was terrible. It's like they didn't even understand the character of Faye Valentine. Did he even watch the anime? I don't know. But I didn't feel female fatale. That's like the thing that they do with this chick. She's supposed to be like deadly and like a gypsy, and she steals shit, and she's like just quirky, whatever. But like, I don't know why. It just sucked. And her writing was terrible. And she was very vulgar. It seemed to be they didn't know how to write for her. So they just made her curse a lot, which I don't remember that a thing in the anime. It was pretty good. It was classy. You didn't have to curse as much. I'm not like saying I'm anti-cursing, but within the character, she was clever, and she like they should have got the person who writes that anime, Kono Saburu or something like that. I think it's called Kono Sabru. I forgot. Now that's good writing, like it's like about this this goddess and this guy, and they have to go kill some demon, and they suck at life. It's really good writing because there's a lot of good banter between the two characters, and I didn't really think Japanese animators could do that. I mean, good banter, but it was good. It was very good. She's fucking terrible. Not her, but like the writing for her. There was no good banter. It seemed to be the good jokes and shit were between John Cho and Mustafa, but it was also weird too, because like it's set like Mustafa would say a thing, or not Mustafa, Jet would say something, right? And then Spike would say something, or John, or Jet would be talking to Spike, and he would have a punchline, and the other guy would have a punchline, and they would both say their jokes, but it was like in response to, it was like a vacuum. Like if I was Jet, I would say, why did the chicken cross the road? And then Spike would say, to die, right? And then Jet would then say, to get to the other side. And then the other guy would say, chickens, they're dumb, right? I mean, like, it's like, what the fuck? Just, that's not a conversation. It sucked. It's not good at all. It's just terrible. But there you go. Other than that, you have other characters here and there, and who gives a fuck? See, now another thing is like in Cowboy Bebop, one of the cool villains who's supposed to be mysterious and everything, along with the hero, so it's kind of like parallel. They're supposed to parallel each other. Is Vicious, and Vicious is pretty tight. He's supposed to be tight. He's supposed to be quiet. He's supposed to be scary. In fact, when he comes in Ballad of the Fallen Angels in the anime, it's like, what the fuck? It's you know, it's fucking good. It's like he's scary and he's cool, and then he's collected, and he's unemotional really, other than like screaming at people, but he's really quiet, honestly. And in this one, once again, actor's not bad at all, but I don't think he ever watched the anime, or maybe the director didn't understand what was going on, or they didn't know how to write the story. I don't know, but he was like very emotional, and he was weak. The entire character was weak, you know? And then like Julia, who's supposed to be a mystery in the show, is actually more of a character. So in the anime, you got Spike, and he's into this one chick who he thinks is dead. It turns out she's alive, and it's a bit of a big deal. And there's a little bit of mystery. I mean, I think that there was something between her and Vicious, and then maybe Spike and Spiegel got with her, some like love triangle kind of thing. Whatever. But that's how it's supposed to be. But in the show, for like, I guess wokeness, they had to make it so she's like strong female, so she had to like be the one who's the main villain, and she wants to take over the syndicate or some bullshit like that. See, in the show, in the cartoon, Vicious is like cold, calculating, always planning, you know, and then he gets to take over the syndicate in a weird way. Like, yeah, he does. And then at the very end, the show comes to an end, spoiler, where Spike has to take him out, whatever, because Julia's dead. He's got nothing to lose, whatever. So it all, you know, goes down that way. But in this one, they build up to the Ballad of the Fallen Angels episode of 4 for this live action show. And like Vicious comes out like I don't know what he's supposed to be in this. He's like some kind of a weak individual who's like very sad that nobody likes him, and and then I don't know, man. It just sucked. You know, that is not what Vicious was. And so whoever wrote this was like, I don't give a fuck. You know, he worked on like 2 characters, and then kind of just fell away with the other characters. Another thing, other than making some weird unnecessary plot twist, is they made Daniela Pina, what is it, Faye Valentine. She gets with this other chick, so they like, ooh, plot twist, she's with this other girl. And that's like it's supposed to be a big thing, and everyone hates that. And like, again, like I said earlier, you know, like they're always trying to pull like some kind of woke thing where they're making it like, oh yeah, well, we got to have a lesbian somewhere. So like, this is what they needed to do. You know, they needed to do whatever on the show. The show sucked. It was okay. The thing that bothers me about the show is this: it could have been better. I mean, they had all the parts, all the pieces. I think even same actors and actresses, they just needed to do their own story, honestly. And if they wanted to, because of the way Cowboy Bebop is structured, they could have just said that this episode is happening between this or whatever. And they didn't. And I mean, it would have worked. I liked how they introduced other characters at different times and such, and then changed the story just a little bit, you know. But then it, like after about a few episodes, it felt like they were just trying to they were just changing the episodes to make them longer, really. You know, in actuality, if it's like 10 episodes and the original show was 30 minutes of pop, they, you know, pretty much came pretty close to making a full show, but they only fleshed out like 4 of the episodes. I don't know. It's fucking god awful. It's funny too, because like in 1 hour episodes, they weren't able to accomplish as much as like a normal, if you watch the show within 20 minutes, you know, they have like a beginning, middle, and end. They have all this stuff that will last for like 20 fucking years, enough so popular that you would make a live action show. This will not last the test of time. This is fucking god awful. And in fact, if they do make another season, which they probably will, or like an adaptation of the movie, which they probably will, it's gonna suck too. And then let's just say 20 years from now, no one's going to know that. They're just going to always think this is the fucking piece of shit movie that I'm going to compare it to other stuff that fucking sucks, like Dragon Ball Evolution. That shit comes out. Nobody knows about that shit, you know, but we use that as a, see, this sucks as bad as that, or this sucks a little bit less than that, you know, and this will be our new thing to compare against. It's so dumb. But if they wanted to make the show work, and this is how they could have done it, same exact everything, just make different episodes, do your own thing. I think that would be the most powerful thing. Better banter, I guess. And I would have made Jet gay. If like you're gonna go woke, I would have made Jet gay with another dude, and you could have exactly done the same thing, you know, have him like get with the like that, and he could have had a daughter still. It was still like a thing, you know. They could have went woke that way as opposed to making the classic, let's just make the girl gay because guys aren't gonna like that. Whatever. Let's see what else. And you know, another plot twist, if you wanted to do another woke thing, you could have made Spike gay, like he was in his vicious, and that was a weird love triangle. And then you could have made maybe Julia the vicious character, which she's not. She's an emotional lady and is very petty, who's taking revenge because she had to stay with Vicious or whatever. That fucking sucked. Alex Hassel, what a hassle. The fighting was good. The action was pretty cool. It just sucks that it was like a ruined opportunity. And that's why I give this show, fuck that, you know? All right. Let's see here. What do I got going on here? All right. Speaking of woke, let's talk about Star Trek Discovery. So I finished season 3, and I've noticed that this show's garbage, and I'm big into Star Trek. And usually what Star Trek meant to me was good characterizations and a good story that don't have to link to another episode. It was so good. They get one episode and it would stand alone, right? And yeah, there would be some shitty episodes, but I mean, you're running what, 26 episodes? Of course, one of the episodes has to suck, you know, they can always be the best, but that's the power of that show. It'd just be so good, you know, like an episode would be good, but Discovery doesn't have any of that. It's literally one episode and it's really long, you know, and to complete a story, it took like 10 episodes, like, so 10 hours to complete one story. And the story is not even that great. And the characters are not even that great either, because I don't know, you have to resist. Okay. So it takes 4 seasons for Picard to cry. I think it's 4 seasons. Like, he's normal all the way up to the point where he gets taken over by the Borg. I think it was 3 seasons. I don't fucking know, but it took him more than 1 season, let's just say, before he actually coughed a tear up. And that's 26 episodes a piece. So that's like double, almost more than double of Discovery. That being said, the main character in that show cries like every minute of every episode. And I mean, it's not that crying is bad. When Picard did it, you're like, what the fuck? You know, this guy never does that. So it has that ramification. But in this fucking thing, nah, not so much. You know, drop the deuce, had on the business. When's it gonna do the thing? Do the thing. What? Sharpen. Usually just does it automatically. Finally, look. Well, anyways, so Discovery. Fuck this show. Fucking main character cries all the time. And here's another thing about that stupid show. The main character, there's a main character, by the way. In most of the Star Trek, it's not really main character. There are people that the show kind of gravitates to more than the others. Like with Star Trek, it'd be the big three: Kirk, Spock, and Nimoy. And it's Next Generation. It was usually, and it's funny because it wasn't this. You would think, right, the second in command, but no, it was Picard, Data, a lot of Worf stories. I would think it's like Picard and Data. They were like goats, and every once in a while you have a lot of Worfs, which was pretty cool. Discovery was pretty cool. Not Discovery. Deep Space Nine was pretty cool because it was like a lot of the other characters had more playtime, So I think it was about even because you had the captain, and it did center around him a lot, but then it did center around the other characters. I think that was the best version of Star Trek in the way of like all the characters and shit had stories, and they weren't wasted. Let's just say it wasn't like a waste of character. Every single one of those fucks were good, and not like Geordi. Like Geordi, I like him and everything, but like the story is never really centered around him that much. You know what I mean? But like when you watch Deep Space Nine, it like every single character had cool acting skills. And then Voyager, they regressed. It was mostly Janeway, which is, I guess, for the most part, good. That's about it. Everyone else, it just kind of bounced around, but no one was charismatic as Janeway. Oh yeah, the Doctor, he was very charismatic. So it was like the Doctor, Janeway, and Seven of Nine, which is cool because Seven of Nine was hot. So it was like a thing in which, usually that doesn't work, but it did, which is crazy. And that worked out pretty good. And then Enterprise, the next Star Trek came out, and that was pretty good. Let's see, Enterprise. Let's see here. Center around Archer, yeah. A lot of Tuck and the Vulcan lady, another pretty lady who worked pretty good in the story. So those were the big three. Other than that, every other character was kind of wasted. Man, Deep Space Nine, I never really thought about it until I verbalized it. But yeah, Deep Space Nine really had good characterizations. And then but Discovery's just god awful. So let's go over the characters real quick, some of them. So you got Michael Burnham. Now the actress that plays Michael Burnham is Nequa Martin Green. She's really good. She's a real good actress, but she's in the wrong show. But it doesn't matter. That's Discovery. You just have to take it. The most the weakest of all the Star Treks, I think. I don't know. Picard was pretty bad. Anthony Rapp, he's Paul Stamets. He's actually one of my favorite characters, but they don't. I liked it when he was an asshole. He's not an asshole anymore, and that kind of sucks. It was good when he was an asshole. He should have stayed that way. There's Doug Jones. He's pretty cool. Saru, that guy is just royalty. He's so good. He's pretty good in the show. You got Mary Wiseman, and she's cool as Tilly, but once again, there's some problems with these characters in that respect. Then you got other people. They're just fucking there. Honestly, they're just fucking there. Michelle Yeoh is pretty bad, but she's royalty. She's been around for a bit. So I always liked her. Every time I see her, good to go. I like that Jason Isaacs. He was cool in that first season. He was one of my favorite characters. David Ajala, he's Cleveland Booker. He's a cool character in season 3, and I think he's just a good actor, but his character sucks. Shazad Latif, I think that dude is fucking cool as an actor. The character is garbage. Well, who the fuck is that? Who's Ava? Train, good podcast. You just hear me just reading. Oh, I don't really remember this character. See, and that's how terrible Discovery is. They have a bunch of random characters, and you're just like, who the fuck are these people? Which at first I thought was cool. I'm all like, they kept showing these people, but they had no story arcs or anything. They were just extras that every once in a while would say something, and I thought that was pretty cool. But, but like, yeah, I guess they're considered characters. I don't know. And then so the show would only focus on the people that were there. that had a lot of lines, and then and it would just ignore these other characters, right? And so like they had this one character, she was like a robot. I don't even know what the fuck she was, because this is supposed to take place before, well, not season 3, but the entirety of the show before 3. It takes place before Star Trek ever happened, you know? And they had this robot character. And I'm like, oh, she's cool. What the fuck is this about? But it was so cash, you know. Oh yeah, by the way, we have a robot, which I thought was pretty, I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm writing a book right now, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to totally do that. Like, well, I had a robot, but like originally had more of a part. But I was thinking, you know, I like the idea of it's just fucking there, right? You know, like, yeah, see, it's a robot, because that's what the fuck happened. There was just a robot in the show. And in season 2, they take that robot lady out, and you could tell she was going to die because, give me a second, let me charge up here. Because she started talking, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, who the fuck is this lady? She was talking. There's like little bits of story here and there. I mean, like, she did talk earlier, but she was talking more. And like they're like, oh, remember that time we did this one thing? And I'm like, what the fuck? What time? Why? They're doing the thing where it's kind of like exposition, but in the most egregious way. So usually exposition's a lot like, good thing we did that one thing that one time, you know, and then so that you can just like, so you said it out there, so it's there, you know, story wise, but it never really happened. It's just the characters were saying it, or a narrator would say, and then they went home, you know, that like that. And so you never see the journey, you just know that they went home. Well, they did that with the characters, and in that they do it with characterization. So instead of having the good story writing skills of like, this character is so fucking awesome, you would just then say, this character is so fucking awesome. And so therefore, like, I guess if you say it's true. I don't know, but that's discovery logic, you know, like if I say a thing, it's okay, you know, like you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense, you know, like it's like, and then the ship exploded, they came back together. You're like, what, why? But hey, you know, that's their logic. So this lady just dies, and then they commit a whole episode, the next episode, and they don't have many episodes either. They don't. It's like boom, 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 boom. That's the show. And they spent like 20-30 minutes eulogizing. Yeah, there you go. Eulogizing this lady that for the most part, she was just there, you know, like episode 1 turns her head. Episode 2 looks shocked. You know, that's all she did. But that's a show in a nutshell. But in season 3, so season 2 ends with them going to the future, way past all the Star Trek. It's like they can't figure it out. And then it's like season 3, everyone's like separated, it's all disjointed, and literally feels like they didn't even know the story that they wrote in season 2, and they just did their own fucking thing. It's so fucking bad, dude, because it's like 1,000 years in the future. It's so fucking bad. There's a part where, okay, so the season 2 has this Michael Burnham's mom, and she's like, I guess, pivotal to the plot or whatever, but not really. And she goes to the future, and she's lost. Whatever. She returns as some Vulcan lady, and but fucking why? You know, like she's kind of like part of the Vulcan culture. She's part of this thing that so happened to live 1,000 years. It's called the Sisters, some fucking thing where like chicks are fighting. I don't know why, but it's fucking terrible. It was introduced in Picard, and it was a bad concept. But there it is. It's part of fucking Discovery. And she's like some kind of badass ninja lady or some shit. I don't fucking know. And then Burnham has to express logic without emotion. But apparently the writers of the show haven't watched the first 2 fucking seasons, because this makes it no fucking sense. Because like, here's this chick, right? She's been, you know, raised on Vulcan to be not emotional, but for fucking 2 seasons, she is fucking emotional, like then some. And it's kind of fucking weird too, because like, I don't know, it's like, in your life, you the audience, who's better at life? Is it the calm collected person or the erratic emotional person? Like literally, usually if it's a chick, it's always, you know, that person, come on, don't fucking lie to me, you know that person. the emotional, irrational lady who's just fucking just like totally emotional, never gets it right. Dude, if you're that person and you're getting it right, you're wrong. You know, like it's not a thing. Mostly if you're erratic with your emotions, bipolar or whatever, it's a rough go for you. I'm just gonna say that's ABC's of you. It just sucks. And that's Michael Burnham, man. She's fucking crying all over the place. And I get it too. Like you can write a sad moment and she's fucking crying. But after a certain time, after all this weird shit going on, you'd think she'd be dead to it. Seeing that she was raised on a fucking planet for fucking years to be a Vulcan, meaning no emotion, but that just went out the fucking window. But whatever. Like I said, Discovery just does the thing where she gets emotional. Fuck it. It's like, why did you put her on Vulcan for so long? You could have had her origin story somewhere else, but no, you just wanted to use some kind of a Spock angle. That's what they did. They just wanted to introduce Spock. Whoever the fucking writers are so garbage, man. They're just like a round table smoking pot and like, so how do we get Spock into this? The main character lives with them and she's like a Vulcan. And then like one episode later, so she's crying, right? Yeah, okay, she's crying. All right. What the fuck? It doesn't make sense. Whatever. So season 3, I don't know why I was talked about Michael Burnham's mom. But yeah, like the episode is so disjointed. The reason they go 1,000 years in the future is a very convoluted reason. In fact, the entirety of the show from season 2 and on is very convoluted. There is a AI that will take out the universe, all sentient life in the galaxy, I guess. That's a thing. That's pretty dumb. And so like there's a series of events that are happening to create this. There's this Michael Burnham's mom, for whatever reason, has the ability to time travel in this robot suit, which is pretty tight. And so like you have Discovery trying to figure out what the fuck are these lights? And they're going around the fucking galaxy trying to find these lights, these red angels, and figure it out. And somehow throughout the course of the show, they get to this sphere. And the sphere so happens to be around for 100,000 years and has all this knowledge, and it puts all its knowledge on Discovery, which then turns it into the super AI. So at the same time, there's this one thing organization from Discovery that was invented in Discovery called Section 31 or 39, 31, the fuck ever. Anyways, so like, I guess they're run by AI, again, for whatever reason, and known as Control. And for some fucking reason, that thing goes crazy. I don't know. And then it's trying to, if it gets with the sphere, the knowledge on Discovery, it'll be so smart. It'll be self-aware, but I think it's pretty self-aware killing people, but whatever. It'll be so powerful that it'll be able to destroy all life in the universe. So that's the stakes. So their plan was to try to destroy Discovery because that's the obvious choice, right? For some reason, they couldn't do that. All right, cool. I mean, they couldn't like, I don't know. Like drive the ship into the sun. I don't know. They couldn't, for whatever reason, the AI would always counter them and try and destroy the ship. Well, whatever. Okay. So they decide to take the ship to the future, 1,000 years in the future. And that way that AI won't be able to hook up with the two. Yeah. And so they do that. And for whatever reason, the AI doesn't hide for 1,000 years and hooks up with this thing. Oh. Anyways, so 1,000 years goes, the ship comes out at one point in time. She comes out at one point in time. The universe is fucked because of some stupid reason. We'll get to that in a second. So Starfleet's not around. It's 1,000 years in the future. And that's season 3. Season 3 starts out with like Burnham by herself. Fucking the Discovery's all trying to figure shit out. And the whole show is them trying to get back together. Meanwhile, they can't use warp technology because dilithium is rare. All the dilithium in the universe exploded, or some bullshit like that. Because plot twist, I guess they get to a place where dilithium is like everywhere, and there's this dude who's crazy, who should be crazier, and he so happens to be related to, not related, but like the same race as Doug Jones's character. I forgot his name, whatever. And so his mom dies, and he screams at this dilithium magical rock. I call it magical because it's stupid. Because when he screams at this fucking thing, it creates an effect that destroys all the dilithium in the galaxy that was being used. So all these ships explode, and then people aren't able to use warp technology. You know, the fucking Starfleet is like reduced to like a few ships, and Discovery gets found out by also like Burnham and Discovery get together, and they're trying to figure shit out. And they get with Starfleet, and Starfleet's like sussing them out, and I don't know, they upgrade Discovery, and to make it more futuristic, they made it so the nacelles are like separated, and so the ship is like not conjoined. I don't know. You know what's funny though? There's a part where, was that season 3? I think it was. Yeah, it was season 3. They're in, I don't understand it. Discovery is so fucking massive. It's insane. The upgrade didn't make it massive, unless it did. I don't know. Because like they're in this fucking area where it's like fucking big. Like it's like the size of a planet. They're just like flying around, and it's like this one of these little areas. I don't fucking get it, but it was like huge. And then I was like, Discovery's really that big? Like, this doesn't make sense. And all the Star Treks and all their fucking ships, even the Deep Space Nine, which is like 3 times bigger than a Galaxy class starship, you know, this little fucking ship is like huge, you know, but whatever. What happens in season 3? I mean, they just like fucking, it was so dumb, dude. They figured out the lithium, and they figured out this kid. They took him away from this rock. So I guess the lithium thing that he screamed at was like raw dilithium, and it created this warp scream. And I don't know, as I'm talking about it, it just angers me because Star Trek was so centered. This seemed like fucking, they had like a dartboard called plot, and they just threw shit at it as much as they could, and it's fucking dumb, dude. And yeah, believe it or not, season 1 was the best. I liked it. It was good. And then season 2 was garbage, and season 3 is a little bit better than 2, but they're both garbage. Let's see what else is there. Fuck that show. Oh yeah, and they make her captain. That's another thing. So yeah, that's what I got. So a problem with this show is the stupidity of it. Other than that, you know, so like when you're watching Star Trek, people are getting promoted and such, but it makes it kind of sense. Like you wouldn't have Ensign Kim and all of a sudden he's an admiral. It just wouldn't make sense. And they pull that shit off in this fucking show. So yeah, it's so dumb. They do a lot of things where it's like they promote because of feelings. That's what it feels like. Like they don't really, there's no rhyme or reason to it other than just because, you know. So Burnham is nowhere near captain. She's not even a commander, you know. Oh, I guess she could be, I mean, she was going to get promoted to commander, but that she skips that and goes straight to captain, right? Whatever. And then Tilly, she gets a bunch of promotions, and she's a fucking ensign. And in fact, I think, oh wait, is she not a cadet? I thought she was, but whatever. I don't even remember her being commissioned. I don't know. They promoted her a bunch. Oh, in this season, they introduced a non-binary character, or whatever the fuck. Okay, so there's a thing called a trill, and that's that just existed in Star Trek. And it's basically a parasite that has like the memories of its host. So So I'm Bob, and I got that host thing, and we're like one being, right? And then I die, and then he goes into another person, say Cindy. Now Cindy has all my memories and her, plus the parasite. That's a new person. Then Cindy goes to Steve, and Steve now has the parasite, and the parasite is not only has the memories of the two of us plus himself, and then he's also kind of a new being. So that's normal. And you go man, woman, woman, woman. It doesn't matter. That's not a thing. But in this one, it felt like they were trying to push some kind of a non-binary kind of thing, and like what is unnecessary, because and that's what really confuses it too. Because okay, so the lady, they go her, and then she goes, I don't feel like a girl, I feel like a boy. And then the doc, who's gay, he's like, oh, I get it. And I'm like, in the future, okay, like this is 1,000 years in the future too, by the way, of Star Trek, 1,000 years in the future of Star Trek. So the technology is it's to a point where you can just teleport and shit at will. Like just by putting your badge, just teleport. That's how powerful their technology is. So in Star Trek, you could change gender. In Star Trek Next Generation, you could change gender. Okay, that's a thing. Like that's established as canon. So in the year like 1,000 years in the future, you can't change gender. So what I'm getting at is this: you could even have your woke movement because you want it to be, they don't feel like that, they're this. But the reality is, if that was a thing in Star Trek, then you would just be that, like you would then just, I want to be a girl, boom, I want to be a boy, boom, you would just be that, because that's just a quick surgery. I mean, in a world where they just fucking use like lasers and shit, and they do brain surgery, and they change you in from they literally turned a Klingon dude into a human, which is very convoluted. They should have went the opposite direction, but whatever. They turned a Klingon into a dude. They smushed his bones, smushed his body, and put him into a person, and that's okay. And they did that 1,000 years ago. So like you're telling me like now this, but they wanted to have their woke moment. That really is what it is. And what's a shame is it's in your face about it, like rather than just casually do it. But it would make sense to forward the plot of, yeah, gender is a fucking ideology. It's not real, and like, okay, so it's not real. Got it. You would then change your gender. And then it would be like, no, we can't do that though. can't change your gender. What are you fucking talking about, man? It's just imaginary. But then why do you say that you're a girl then? And then the guy's like, or a girl, whatever gender because he didn't, or he or she, or I forgot whatever trill thing they wanted to be, identified as one. If anything, non-binary, no gender, that's a thing too. You could just be that, like I don't want to have a gender. Boom, science. I mean, fuck. But you can't have that, because if you did that, then you wouldn't have that that thing, right? Because like you wouldn't be able to talk about it, all the time, or push your agenda. You wouldn't have any representation because they would be fully the person that they are. They could even keep the same actor, but I think they want to keep it in this weird way, and it makes it even weirder. So I'm watching Star Trek, and I'm wondering, why the fuck are you hungry? You could just replicate food, and then there's no fucking reason for it. Oh yeah, why don't you replicate food? Let's talk about something else. Like that's okay. In the world of Star Trek, it's if you need a thing, you get a thing, and even the science of who you are, you can change. But for some, no, we stopped there only because in this fucking year, 2021, we got to make gender a thing, And so we do that without using any kind of logic at all. I mean, you could have had your cake and eat it too, but no, you wanted to make it so it's a thing. So yeah, identify as a girl. And then Dr. Stamos should have then said, so do you want me to transition you? I could do that because we have 1,000 years of science. I mean, like even in the 90s, they could just like turn dudes into girls and it would be chaotic, but fast forward over 1,000 years, we just forgot how to do that. But let's go warp speed. Fuck it. Let's press our badge and teleport. Shit, they merged two people in a plant with transporter technology. They separated people with transport technology. They've cloned people with transport technology. But yet, But yet, this one little thing they can't fucking figure out, you know? And like, believe it or not, transporter isn't the end all be all. If they're able to mush down a dude and turn him into a Klingon, you know, I mean, can't mush down a lady and turn her into a dude or vice versa. Fuck. The thing is, like, if you're a Star Trek fan, like truly, you get it. And I think it's like, because I watch every season every year. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how dedicated I am as a fan. I watch in the background and I build civilizations while I'm doing it. But I mean, but why? You know, like they made this show. You could do the things you want to do, be progressive, but like have a little bit of logic to it at least. But they can't. They're so dumb. All right. Well, I mean, Discovery is garbage. There you go. And then just promoting her to be captain because of feelings. I don't know. You know what they should have did, right? Is if they wanted Discovery to work, what they should have did was it took place right after Voyager or something, you know, because you could do 10 years after Voyager because the technology looks more advanced than any of the shows. So you could have made that argument. And I know they wanted to have a Spock moment. I get it. But that what they should have did was, see, why do you have to have this Vulcan background? The reason they have the Vulcan background is just so they can link Spock into this bullshit. And you didn't have to do any of that. You could have had the Battle of the Binary Stars and everything. You literally could have done the same exact story completely. Like, and you could have even had the Klingons look different just by saying, you know, they look different, you know, and that's why they're acting the way they are, you know. That would have fucking worked, you know. Say the retrovirus and introduced in Enterprise fucked them up even more. Now they're real fucked up looking, you know. And you could have had all the fucking stories you wanted that way. But I guess they didn't want to conflict with Picard, which actually takes place way longer. So they could have done the same fucking thing. Fucking idiots. They should have, and then just tweak the story a little bit here and there. And yeah, that's her new drive, a fucking mushroom ship. And then you don't have to make everything doesn't have to get weird, you know, like, because all the technology looked way more advanced than any of the Star Treks. But I'm repeating myself. All right, one more thing I gotta talk about, and then I'm done. Been watching this anime called Mushu Gaipon. No, that's Mushroom Chicken. It's called Mushoku Tensei, which is called Jobless Reincarnation, in which it's about this nerd who dies because I guess he pushed. This is a normal thing in anime where they push people and they get hit by trucks and they go to another world. And that's what happens. Fat dude, nerd, pushes this lady, saves her, gets hit by a truck. And then now he's like in this like imaginary world, and not imaginary world's world made by some six-faced god or six, I don't know, for some reason it had six gods in there and whatever. And he just lives life there. And that's it. And then like, so he grows up, he starts out as a baby, but with his mind of a 35-year-old loser. And it's funny too, because he slowly learns the language and things like that because he's a baby. But from their point of view, they're like, man, he's so smart. But like in reality, it's just because he's 35. So he has a brain. This is that he's in a baby's body. So there's a lot of awkward situations with that, you know, because he's a baby, but he's in the body of a nerd. So like, so if he's breastfeeding, that's a weird thing. But the anime is really good. It's like above most stuff. But because it's also anime, they got to get weird with some stuff. It's pretty cool because like there's like one episode where like I guess he fell as a baby and he's like, fuck, I hurt myself, and he starts crying, me, and then like his mom heals him with magic. And then like that changed everything. Like as soon as he found out there was magic, he's like, wait, what? There's magic? That's fucking cool. And so he learns magic, you know, and because he's from our time, he knows how to, like he uses just like common sense how to do things. So the way he approaches magic is much different from anyone else. So like people born in that world, magic's already a thing. And so therefore, like even the geniuses have to still approach as if magic's still a thing. And so they don't think a certain way, but because he comes from Earth, he thinks differently about science. So he's like, oh, if I just mix these two things together, it'll work like that. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, anime's pretty boss. It's pretty cool. It's like he's like really growing, and that's really what makes it good. It's the grind is real. And it got to a point where the show was so cash, some things happen, that you could die, all this shit happens, right? But the stakes never really get raised that high. And then it gets to a point where they're in the middle of nowhere, they're in a snow mountain. This episode's called Turning Point 2 or something like that. And apparently, I guess that's a thing. Every time Turning Point happens, some bad shit goes down, is what I'm thinking, because this shit was bad. So the episode starts out with good shit happening. This one girl he's been with this whole time, she's now considered a warrior. So that means she's badass now. And that's a big deal. So you're like, oh, wow, she leveled up. So this whole time, the main character, he's badass onto himself because he knows magic, but he's not overpowered. In fact, he's so weak. And he's powerful in the sense of normal people, but like there's so many other people way more powerful than him. And I thought that was pretty cool. And everything's good. They get on this fucking mountain because they're crossing these mountains in the snow. They're shooting the breeze, and they talk about dragons. They just kind of put out some plot points for later on. And then all of a sudden, the two badass characters that he's been with, like this one character who's like been around for 400 years, it's like a badass, like ninja, whatever. He's scared, and the girl that he's been with, she's a badass, like kung fu fighter too, and she's scared. And they just stop moving because they're just fucking in fear. Because these two other guys come up, and this one guy, I guess, like he has this curse, which it would have been cool if he was just a badass, and that's why they were scared. But no, he's got this curse that makes you fearful, like really fearful, and hate him. So either way, you either hate him or you're afraid of him. So that's how bad it is. It's so bad that they had an ox that was next to them. They had all their stuff. That ox jumped off a mountain to run away because of the fear of this guy, right? The guy walks past, and in the party, the party that he's in, they're like, we could die. We better not move. Play it chill. Death is on the table. Even if we ran, we die. We're not outrunning this guy. This is it. This is game over. So we just be still. It's the best course. All right. So the main character looks at the guy. He's not scared at all. He doesn't hate him. He's not scared. He goes, hey, he starts asking questions. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Like, why are you it's like, why the fuck are you talking? Like, were you supposed to be scared? And then everything seems to be all right, but things change when he asks a simple question. He says, he goes, well, you sound like you know the human god. And then the main character's all like, yeah, actually I do. But in his eye, he's got this thing called a demon eye, and he has the ability to see the future. And there's like a lot of little stories to why he can see the future, and like versions of it. It's like the more mana he puts into his eye, the more further into the future it is. But it gets weirder because there's many paths. So he keeps it to like a second. So you can kind of see. So he's always like a second ahead. And in his eyeball, he could see his body like getting pierced, like his heart gone. And the other two characters are badass. They're able to fucking pull him back really fast and save his life. That's how good they are. But this guy isn't trying, by the way. It just almost kills the main character. And so the best warrior of them, he's called a superb. I don't know his name, a Rugiard. He goes to attack him, and then you never really see him move like this at all throughout the show, but he does. He's like super fast. Hit him with the spear, fighting, and he's like, get out of here, run. And he is committed to death. This is happening. He's gonna die. And he's like, I'm just gonna just flail my arms around until like I die, and then hopefully these kids get away. Well, he dies really quick or something like that. He hits him, fucks him up. And it's funny too, because like it seemed to be like Ruger was faster than him, but he's just so skilled. He like breaks his leg, hits his head, and fucks him up. And then the other girl, she's pretty cool. She gets a attack on, but this guy's a god. Like it launches her, and then he gets up on the main character and crushes his lungs. And then he tells them, yeah, the only way to beat a mage really is to crush their lungs so they can't, cast spells. But the main character since season 1 figured out how to cast spells without actually saying words, because in that universe, in that world that they're in, to do magic, you have to chant something, right? And it's basically a command. You have to feel the energy of the, the mana or whatever the fuck. You feel the energy, say the command, and then through what you say dictates the terms of the spell, like whether it goes far, fast, and just how big it is, how small it is, things like that, right? But if you're able to think the command and you can adjust it that way, as long as you can feel it and think it, you're good. But no one's ever figured that out, like it's trickier than that, because he knows the thing that he wants, it's able for him to do it. But because he has no real understanding of like medical stuff, he still has to chant the command because he's not really good at healing. So if he was a doctor, he'd be able to do it. But because he's not a doctor and he just knows some physics and stuff, he's able to like use the command with that. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but that's the world building of this show. And that's what I like about it, really. Instead of healing his lungs, because I don't think he can, because he doesn't have that ability without chanting it. So he shoots out like a rock at him. And it's cool because like he's just thinking, his best spell is throwing these rocks. So he just does. It's so second nature to him. That's the first thing he does. He throws this rock, he spins it really fast and shoots it out, and it kind of hurts him too. So that's pretty cool. But it is a god. So, and then he shoots this ball, and it's like, I guess he makes like a nuclear bomb in his hand. I don't know. That's what it looks like. It turns into fire, and it shifts colors to some purple hue. And up to this point, there was no hint of this, but because they built up the story to this point, you can infer that he just had this one ace up his sleeve, and he shoots this fucking fireball that's, I guess, cosmic-y. I don't know. I really don't. And then the main character creates like he teleports some kind of a shield called the Dragon Lapis or something. I don't know what the fuck it is, honestly. The two hit, he breaks the gate, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's real powerful. He hits this thing. They end up killing the guy, and the main character or the bad guy brings him back to life for whatever reason. There is a reason, but it's not the anime yet. And yeah, it's pretty cool. What I liked about it is two things. One, they created a situation where shit got real, and it took them 2 seasons to do it. Up to that point, it was like shit got real, but not that bad. But this one was like, fuck, it was happy ending and then worst ending ever. And I thought that was pretty cool. And that's the discrepancy between Discovery and what is it? It's this Jobless Reincarnation. One earned a fucking epic level. The other one did not earn shit. It just kind of just threw shit together. This other one fucking earned it. All right, guys, that's enough. I'm tapping out. I gotta run out of beer. I gotta go downstairs. I mean, solo podcast isn't as fun as like normal podcasts, but I wanted to get those thoughts out there. Shit on some Discovery, shit on some Cowboy Bebop. So as always, be the better person you were yesterday. If you get to create something, do it for the reasons you want to create it. Don't create something that's like not good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Don't feel the pressure to make things woke, okay? Unless that's your truth. If that's your truth, I think it'll be better if that's your truth. But woke isn't truth, I don't think. As always, stay frosty. Did I hit stop? No, I didn't. Oh yeah. Be the better person than you were yesterday and stay frosty.